said his predecessors did fully investigate. The second and third 1023 forms relate to the first in that they reference potential Biden family criminal conduct. Senator Johnson and I made these two public, and we simply want to know whether the government has investigated what it found, and if not, why not? Senator Ronald. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, FISA Section 702 will expire in 6 months. In response to my questions for the record, at your confirmation hearing, you said you did not have experience with FISA, but if confirmed, you would consult with experts at DOJ. Now you've had that opportunity. Do you support adding additional safeguards for searching Americans' communications in the 702 database? Senators, Section 702 is a vital source of foreign intelligence and instrumental in keeping Americans safe. We also take individuals' rights of their individual rights of all Americans very seriously, and many statutory reforms to FISA have incorporated safeguards. They have to incorporate safeguards to protect our civil liberties. The Department of Justice looks forward to working with you to discuss anything regarding 702. Appreciate that. Believe my staff and Senator, I also want to thank you for this hearing. Your staff met with my staff and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you. We're going to be working on 702, so I appreciate the openness to further amending 702. At your confirmation hearing, you assured me that it is the Department of Justice's decision to determine what cases will be prosecuted. Last month in the U.S., the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was forced out. President Trump then posted the message behind me asking you about prosecuting James Comey. You then appointed a new U.S. Attorney who within days secured an indictment against James Comey. That social media post behind me saying, "What about Comey?" was directed to Pam. Are you the Pam that the President was referring to? I'm sure I was. So, it's very clear to me that when the President posts something like that he considers the DOJ to be his law firm and you his lawyer, and in fact very shortly after the post to you, Comey gets indicted. Last year, President Trump's new borders are now Border Tom H. Homeman was videotaped taking a bag with $50,000 in cash from undercover FBI agents after suggesting he could help with government contracts. Sounds like a bribe. 2 weeks ago, DOJ officials reportedly shut down the bribery investigation into Mr. Holman. Ms. Bondi, did you approve closing the Homeman investigation, bribery investigation? Just get rid of that. Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, the Department of Justice and the FBI conducted a thorough review and they found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing. You were also on video outside the White House protesting with a group called CASA where Antifa members were. Does that mean you're a member of Antifa? You know, I simply asked the question as to whether or not you approved the shutting down of the investigation, Mr. Holman. I have to assume that you did because the FBI reports to you. But the American people would look at the situation where this person is taking a $50,000 in cash, no less, and that you testified today that a thorough investigation was done. Now, I have to assume I conclude that since no wrongdoing was determined that, in answer to Senator Whitehouse's question, he kept the money. He kept the money, and I hope that he put that on his tax returns as income. Next question. Over 1,200 rears were convicted of charges related to January 6th. President Trump has since pardoned nearly all of them. As if that weren't enough, last month there were reports that a lawyer for the January 6th rears met with senior DOJ officials about setting up a compensation fund. A compensation fund like the one that Congress set up after 9/11 to compensate these rears. Ms. Bondi, is anyone at DOJ considering setting up a compensation fund for January 6th rears? Yes or no? Senator, I have had no meetings or discussions about a fund. So, would you support such a fund? Would you okay such a fund? Senator, you can send me the information on the fund and I'd be happy to look at it. No, but do you think that's a good idea to, this is what I'm getting at? Because to actually set up a fund and to have people talking with your senior people at DOJ, political people, about creating a fund, and you want to let us know what you think about that. That's pretty unbelievable. On January 30th of this year, the Trump DOJ's antitrust division sued to block the merger of two tech companies. Then a well-connected lobbyist met with your political deputies who overruled the career staff and approved the merger. So there's a settlement on that. And separately, DOJ sued Ticketmaster last year for monopolizing concert tickets and forcing consumers to pay outrageous fees. Ticketmaster has hired the exact same lobbyists who met with senior DOJ political people regarding the merger of the two tech companies. So, my question is, Ms. Bondi, have lobbyists met with your political deputies about the Ticket M case? Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, I am not going to discuss anything that is ongoing. Gail Slater runs the antitrust. I would say, and Gail Slater, if I can finish, Gail Slater is doing an incredible job running my antitrust unit. It's highly likely, Miss Bondi, that the same lobbyists who met with your people and basically got rid of the antitrust case. Senator, I don't think a lot of people like that you were out protesting with Antifa. Right now, next question. You have fired dozens of career prosecutors because they worked on cases involving President Trump or January 6th rears. For example, one career federal prosecutor secured over 100 convictions in Florida. He also spent time in D.C. prosecuting January 6th cases. He received an outstanding review only 2 days before you signed a memo firing him. The memo cited no reason for his firing. Are you firing career prosecutors solely because they worked on cases like January 6th that the president doesn't like? Senator Hirono, I am not going to talk about personnel matters with you. Well, we all know that hundreds of career prosecutors have left the DOJ and literally hundreds were told. And yeah, Senator, are you familiar with the one that threw a sandwich at an ICE officer? Are you a Homeland Security officer? Are you familiar with the one who went out on her lunch break and was making obscene gestures? Would you say that DOJ losing these career prosecutors and the thousands of hours of experience they have prosecuting criminals? That is not a reassuring situation. Senator, many employees took the fork in the road and resigned. DOJ is hiring committed prosecutors who will actually come into the office and work and not work remotely and prosecute violent criminals around the country and terrorists. And I am very proud of the work all of our prosecutors. I'm running out of time, so I think you should stop with your continuous interruptions in my opinion. Mr. Chairman, I just want to close by saying that what was once the Department of Justice has become the Department of Revenge and Corruption. Rather than pursuing cases without fear or favor, this DOJ seeks to favor the president's friends and instill fear in his alleged enemies. If you're a friend of the president, this corrupt DOJ will bend over backwards to help you. Just like it had dropped the bribery investigation of Tom Pullman, like it's considering paying money to January 6th rears, and like it has put anti-rust enforcement decisions in the hands of well-connected lobbyists. But if you're on the wrong side of this president, you will face the wrath of DOJ, no matter what the facts, law, or justice support. James Comey is indicted days after the president's social media directive. Experienced career prosecutors are fired just because they were assigned to work on January 6th cases. Blue states are sued to get highly sensitive private voter data, whereas red states are left alone. The double standard is clear, and the American people are waking up to the corruption and favoritism and the lawlessness at the DOJ. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I respond, Chairman? Yes, question. May I respond? Yes, you may respond then. Senator Kennedy, thank you. The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirono. Crystal clear because you didn't complain for 4 years when President Trump was being targeted by Jack Smith, by the last Justice Department, but the American people spoke loud and clear when they overwhelmingly elected him. The two-tier system of justice is over. Senator Kennedy, me. Yes. What's playing out around the Department of Justice isn't just another policy dispute. It's a referendum on whether the rule of law still means the same thing for everyone. From Pam Bondi defending FISA 702 as a national security necessity while the DOJ signals it's open to rewriting it to the DOJ abruptly closing a bribery case caught on video. The pattern looks less like legal judgment and more like political meth. Trump posts on social media that James Comey should be prosecuted days later. An indictment drops. Lobbyists steer antitrust decisions on Ticketmaster and tech mergers. Senators trade accusations of hypocrisy while career prosecutors are pushed out of Trump-related cases. Bondi's grilled over whether January 6th rioters deserve a compensation fund. Yet violent criminals walk because politically inconvenient cases are quietly buried. The through line is unmistakable. A justice system that bends for the powerful, punishes their enemies, and calls it neutrality. The fight now isn't over statutes, it's over credibility. So, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. The next one is even more controversial.